What if I told you that one of the most seismic roster moves in recent NBA history just got completely reversed? That a trade everyone thought was set in stone, a deal that sent shockwaves through the entire basketball world, might actually be undone in the most dramatic fashion possible. Lakers Nation, what I'm about to share with you is going to change everything you thought you knew about this season, and I guarantee you're going to want to hear every single word of what's coming. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report, your ultimate destination for breaking news, exclusive updates, and deep dive analysis on our beloved Los Angeles Lakers. I'm bringing you insider information that's going to have major implications for our championship aspiration. And trust me, when I say this story has more twists and turns than a Hollywood blockbuster, let me paint the picture for you, because understanding the full context of what's happening right now is absolutely critical. We're living in one of the most fascinating periods in Lakers history, a moment where the decisions being made in front offices across the league are directly impacting our pursuit of banner number 18. The NBA landscape has been turned upside down recently, and at the center of all this chaos is a situation involving one of the most dominant big men of this generation, a player whose name has been synonymous with excellence, a player who could be the missing piece to our championship puzzle. Now, before I reveal exactly what's going on and how it affects the purple and gold, you need to understand the broader context of what's been happening around the league. There's been turmoil, there's been dysfunction, and there's been a franchise-altering decision that's created a domino effect that could benefit the Lakers in ways we couldn't have imagined just a few weeks ago. The basketball gods might actually be smiling on Los Angeles right now, and I'm going to explain exactly why. Here's what you need to know about the current state of affairs in the Western Conference. We've got teams that are reevaluating their entire organizational structure. We've got front offices making panic moves, and we've got veterans who suddenly find themselves in situations they never expected to be in. This kind of chaos creates opportunities, and if there's one thing Rob Pelinka has proven over the years, it's that he knows how to capitalize on opportunities when they present themselves. The question isn't whether opportunities exist, it's whether we're positioned to take advantage of them. Let me take you back to a moment that shocked the entire basketball world. Imagine a scenario where one of the league's brightest young superstars, a generational talent who seemed destined to spend his entire career with one franchise, suddenly gets traded in a deal that nobody saw coming. I'm talking about the kind of blockbuster move that breaks the internet, that has every sports talk show discussing it for weeks, that fundamentally alters the competitive balance of the entire league. That's exactly what happened when the Dallas Mavericks made the stunning decision to trade Luka Dončić to the Los Angeles Lakers in what can only be described as one of the most controversial transactions in recent memory. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're wondering how this connects to our Lakers, how this impacts our roster, and most importantly, what this means for our championship aspiration. Stay with me, because this is where the story gets really interesting, and this is where everything starts to make sense in terms of how it affects us directly. The ripple effects of that Dončić trade are still being felt throughout the league, and the latest developments are creating a situation that could work tremendously in our favor. When Dallas made that trade, they received a package centered around Anthony Davis. Yes, that Anthony Davis, the Brow, one of the most talented away players in NBA history, a guy who's won a championship, who's been to multiple All-Star games, who can dominate on both ends of the floor when he's healthy and locked in. The Mavericks thought they were getting a centerpiece to build around, a veteran presence who could help them remain competitive while they figured out their next steps. But here's the thing about NBA front office decisions. Sometimes they look brilliant in the moment and disastrous in hindsight. The situation in Dallas has deteriorated rapidly. General Manager Nico Harrison, the architect of the Dončić trade, has been fired. Let that sink in for a moment. The guy who made one of the biggest trades in franchise history is gone, which tells you everything you need to know about how that organization views the current state of their roster. When a GM gets fired this quickly after making a franchise-altering move, it's a clear signal that ownership and leadership believe a massive mistake was made. And when that happens, everything becomes available, including the players who were brought in as part of that controversial deal. This is where things get absolutely fascinating from a Lakers perspective, and this is the information that should have every single one of you on the edge of your seats right now. Multiple team sources from Dallas have confirmed that the Mavericks are actively exploring the trade market for Anthony Davis. Ahead of the February deadline, They're looking to move him. They're ready to admit the Dončić trade was a disaster, and they want to reset their entire organizational direction. And guess where Davis came from? That's right, the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let me give you all the details because this situation is complex and there are multiple layers to what's actually happening behind the scenes. Mark Cuban, who's now a minority owner, but still has significant influence in basketball operations, publicly stated that the Mavericks won't be trading Davis, saying they want to try to win. But here's what you need to understand about public statements from team executives. They're often designed to protect trade value and prevent other teams from sensing desperation. If every team in the league knows Dallas is desperate to move Davis, they're going to lowball their offers and Dallas will get even less value in return. The reality, according to multiple well-connected sources, is that Dallas is absolutely exploring the market for Davis. They have to. They've landed the #1 overall pick Cooper Flagg in the draft, and their entire organizational focus is shifting toward building around him for the future. That means unloading high-priced veterans, especially ones who don't fit the timeline of a rebuilding team. Davis is 32 years old. He's got an extensive injury history, and he's currently dealing with yet another calf strain that's kept him out for multiple weeks. From Dallas's perspective, moving him makes all the sense in the world. But here's where this story takes the turn that every Lakers fan needs to hear. There's growing momentum around the idea of Davis returning to Los Angeles. Think about it from every angle. The Lakers know Davis better than any other organization. They won a championship with him. They understand his game, his strengths, his limitations, and how to maximize his talents within their system. LeBron James and Davis have proven chemistry. They know how to play together, how to complement each other's games, and how to win when it matters most. The fit is natural, the familiarity is there, and the motivation on both sides is aligned. For Davis, coming back to Los Angeles means returning to a situation where he's appreciated, where he's surrounded by a supporting cast that understands how to utilize his unique skill set, and where he has a legitimate chance to add to his championship resume before his career is over. For the Lakers, bringing back Davis means adding an elite two-way player who can protect the rim, stretch the floor, and give us the kind of front-court presence we've been missing. It's a win-win scenario that makes too much sense to ignore. Now let's talk about the practical aspects of making this happen, because it's not as simple as just calling Dallas and saying we want Davis back. There are salary cap implications, there are asset considerations, and there are competing teams who might also be interested in acquiring him. The Golden State Warriors, for example, have been mentioned as a potential destination. They have a glaring need for front-court help to support Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler in what might be their final championship window. They could offer young assets like Jonathan Kuminga, which might be attractive to a rebuilding Mavericks team. But here's where the Lakers have a distinct advantage. We can offer Dallas a combination of young talent, draft picks, and expiring contracts that give them the flexibility they need to fully commit to rebuilding. Brown flag. We can also offer Davis the chance to return to a familiar environment where he's already proven he can win at the highest level. That matters. Players have leverage in these situations, and if Davis makes it clear he wants to return to Los Angeles, that significantly increases the likelihood of a deal getting done. Let's talk about what Davis brings to the table when he's healthy and engaged. Last season, before the trade, he was averaging impressive numbers across the board. His defensive presence alone is worth the price of admission. He's one of the few players in the league who can legitimately guard multiple positions, protect the rim at an elite level, and switch on perimeter players without being a liability. Offensively, he's a matchup nightmare. He can post up smaller defenders, step out and hit mid-range jumpers, and even stretch the floor with three-point shooting when needed. The concern, of course, is his injury history. Davis has struggled to stay on the court consistently throughout his career, and his latest calf strain is just another reminder of that reality. But here's the thing, the Lakers' medical staff knows his body better than anyone. They know how to manage his minutes, how to keep him fresh for the playoffs, and how to put him in positions where he can succeed without putting unnecessary stress on his body. If there's any organization equipped to handle Davis's injury concerns, it's the Lakers. Think about what our roster would look like with Davis back in the fold. You've got LeBron still playing at an incredibly high level, defying father time and showing no signs of slowing down. You've got a core of role players who have proven they can contribute in meaningful ways. And now you add Davis into that mix, giving us a legitimate big three that can compete with anyone in the league. The offensive versatility alone would be staggering. Pick and roll combinations between LeBron and Davis. Post-up opportunities for Davis when he has favorable matchups. Floor spacing that opens up driving lanes for our guards. The possibilities are endless defensively. Having Davis anchoring our interior completely changes our identity as a team. We can switch more freely on the perimeter knowing we have rim protection behind us. We can pressure the ball more aggressively knowing Davis is cleaning up mistakes on the back end. We can implement more versatile defensive schemes that take advantage of his unique ability to guard multiple positions. This isn't just about adding a good player. It's about adding a transformational talent who elevates everyone around him. The timing of all this couldn't be better for the Lakers. We're currently positioned as a competitive team in the Western Conference, but we're not quite at the level of the absolute elite contenders. Adding Davis changes that calculus immediately. Suddenly, we're not just hoping to make noise in the playoffs. We're legitimate championship contenders who can match up with anyone. That's the difference between being a good team and being a great team. And Davis is the kind of player who bridges that gap from a strategic standpoint. Rob Pelinka needs to be aggressive here. This is the kind of opportunity that doesn't come around often. A player of Davis's caliber becoming available with a clear path back to Los Angeles. With mutual interest on both sides, that's rare. Yes, there will be competition from other teams. Yes, there are complications with salary matching and asset allocation, but if there's any front office that's proven capable of navigating complex trade scenarios, it's the Lakers. Pelinka has pulled off big moves before, and this is his chance to do it again. Let's address the elephant in the room. What will we have to give up to make this happen? Dallas isn't going to just hand us Davis for nothing. They're going to want young assets, they're going to want draft picks, and they're going to want contracts that help them maintain financial flexibility. That means we're probably looking at a package that includes some combination of our younger players at future draft capital. Is it worth it? Absolutely. When you have a chance to add a player who can be the difference between winning a championship and falling short, you make that move every single time. The February trade deadline is approaching, and all signs point to Dallas being active in trying to reshape their roster. They've already made it clear through their actions, firing Harrison and shifting organizational focus to Flag, that they're ready to embrace a full rebuild. That means veterans like Davis, P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford, and even Kyrie Irving could all be on the table. For the Lakers, Davis is obviously the prize, the player who moves the needle in a significant way. But there might be opportunities to add additional pieces as well if we're creative with how we structure deals. I want to talk about what this means for Lakers fans because at the end of the day, we're all invested in this team emotionally. We want to see banners hanging in the rafters. We want to see championship parades down Figueroa Street. We want to maximize every single year we have left with LeBron James in a Lakers uniform. Bringing back Anthony Davis gives us the best possible chance to accomplish all of those goals. It's not a guarantee. Nothing in sports ever is, but it puts us in position to compete at the highest level, and that's all we can ask for. The potential lineup combinations are exciting to think about. Imagine closing games with LeBron, Davis, and our best perimeter defenders on the floor together. The versatility, the two-way impact, the championship experience, it's exactly what you need in high-leverage playoff situations. Those are the moments that define seasons, and having players who've been there before, who know what it takes to win, that's invaluable. Davis brings all of that and more. So here's my complete analysis of this situation. Anthony Davis returning to the Lakers makes sense. From every conceivable angle, it makes sense for Davis, who gets to return to a winning environment where he's already proven he can succeed. It makes sense for the Lakers, who add an elite talent that fills a major need and elevates our championship odds. It makes sense for Dallas, who can fully commit to rebuilding around their young core. The pieces are all there for this to happen, and I genuinely believe we're going to see this deal come together before the February deadline. Now, I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. What do you think about the possibility of Anthony Davis returning to Los Angeles? Do you believe he's worth the assets it would take to bring him back? How do you see him fitting alongside LeBron in the current roster? What are your expectations if this trade actually happens? Drop your comments below because I love hearing your perspectives and having these discussions with the best fan base in basketball. And if you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Here at Lakers News Fan Report, I'm committed to bringing you the latest news, the most detailed analysis, and the insider information you need to stay on top of everything happening with our Los Angeles Lakers. We're in this together, and I promise to keep you informed every step of the way as this situation develops. Let's bring Anthony Davis back home and chase banner number 18 together. Lakers Nation, let's go.